there's a couple scenarios. Okay, one scenario is that you're uh, you're born, you live your life, you die at a certain point in time, and then you recur back at the moment of your birth, and you do it again and do it again and do
Mhm.
it again. That's if you fulfilled your role, your planetary role, purposefully. What I mean by that is that let's say uh, hmm, someone who becomes the president of the United States, or anybody really, someone who becomes uh, an engineer of some kind, or whatever the case might be, right? If they did it the way that the planet needed them to do it, in other words, they sounded a certain signal,
Mhm.
a certain frequency, then they're a prime candidate for doing it all over again. Right back into there, live their life, do the same thing over again, right back in again and again and again. That's recurrence, the idea of recurrence, because it serves a planetary purpose. The planet needs a certain signal. You did a good job at it. Back you go, right? Or you do something so different that something else in the universe goes, now, wait a minute. This man or lady on this planet was supposed to be this, but they ended up, I don't know, having a sun level connection, for example. Yeah. Being able to be generative to the way or the evolutionary signal on the planet.
Mhm.
And it goes, right, let's reincarnate that person to be able to continue that because it's serving a higher purpose, a solar or a star level purpose, or some other planet, or some other star, or some other sun, because you did a good job. It's just like the janitor. It'll be the story of the janitor. You know, did you ever see Goodwill Hunting? You know the story Goodwill Hunting? Beautiful story.
Oh.
Beautiful story about uh, this concept that I'm trying to convey here. He works as a janitor at this school, mopping and sweeping and cleaning up, all of these elite students' garbage. I think it was something like MIT, like a prestigious school. Yeah, and they have on a chalkboard this math equation, this high level calculus kind of thing going on. And he's sweeping the floor and he, ponders it for a little bit and solves it, right? And then continues on. And meanwhile, the professor is putting these challenges on the board for the students to be able to solve because they're like basically unsolvable puzzles, unsolvable math problems, or very difficult to solve in the least. And so the professor comes in and is like, who did it? Who solved it? Who solved this math equation? Nobody knows. None of the students did, or at least they won't fess up to it. And so he goes on this hunt, puts a more difficult problem on the board the next time. Sure enough, Will, I think his name probably was, comes up and solves it again. And does this a couple of times until finally the professor figures out that it's just this janitor that probably didn't even graduate high school, maybe graduate high school, but still wasn't a member of the college at the time, was the one solving these problems. That's an example of stepping outside of your role.
Mhm.
Really good example of stepping outside of your role in life, having and something noticing higher up the rate of creation and going, this boy doesn't need to be sweeping floors. He needs to be given the tools to do that kind of thing better.